Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. So it's been a while since we've last talked about the 6th iteration of Ben 10 on this channel, and the reason for that is because there's been no new updates on this series. Duncan Rolu hasn't said anything about it since March of 2022, so a lot earlier this year, and nothing's come out about it, so I'm kind of wondering at this point, did the 6th iteration of Ben 10 get cancelled? And I know I talked about this around 3 months ago, and my opinion on it is, I think that definitely at this point we can say for certain that whatever the 6th iteration of Ben 10 was going to be, whatever it was going to be at the point of last year, because if you guys remember, Duncan Rolu initially stated that the 6th iteration of Ben 10 was going to be announced by the end of 2021, so by December of last year, and obviously that did not happen. So I feel like at this point, it's safe to assume that whatever that version of the 6th iteration of Ben 10 was, it's been canceled. We are not seeing that version of Ben 10. It's been scrapped. It's not happening. That's my take on it. Of course, there is a possibility that it's just gotten hung up in development. It's just taking longer than anticipated to develop this series. But at this point, I feel like it's not happening, given that there hasn't even been any official recognition from the channel that there even is a 6th iteration of Ben 10. Like, the only reason we know about it is because Duncan said that there is one. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here wondering, hey, did Ben 10 as a franchise end? Are we done with Ben 10? So where do we go from here? What's going to happen to this franchise since, like I said, it's been a while since anybody's talked about the 6th iteration of Ben 10, anyone on the crew of the show, that is. I think, honestly, what's happening right now is, like I said before, I think that whatever the 6th iteration was, it's been canceled. It's not happening. It could go one of two ways from here if this is the case. Either they're trying to rework the idea that they had and make it into something different, something, new and fresh, a different take on what they were originally working on, or they've completely scrapped that idea and they're now going in a completely different direction. Obviously, there's no way of knowing which one they'd be going with if indeed the 6th iteration of Ben 10 was canceled in whatever form it was in at the time, but I would say that, my feeling on the 6th iteration of Ben 10 from the start, you guys can go back and watch my videos if you want to from 2020, my feeling on the 6th iteration of Ben 10 has always been that it's going to be something brand new in the Ben 10 universe. It's going to be something that is fresh, it's new, it's something they've never done with Ben 10 before. It's not going to be connected to the original continuity. It's not going to be connected to the reboot continuity. I always thought it's going to, create a brand new third continuity in the Ben 10 universe. We know in the Ben 10 universe, there's many different versions of Ben. Of course, as we saw in Omniverse, and obviously in the reboot, they had that special where all the Bens came together. So I feel like this is probably just going to be something brand new. A brand new Ben, brand new world, brand new everything. It's like another reboot, so to say. I still feel like that's the most likely possibility, but I will say that given that Cartoon Network seems to be somewhat acknowledging old franchises again, like we're getting, a new Powerpuff Girls reboot or revival or sequel series or whatever it ends up being. We're getting the Foster Home for Imaginary Friends preschool show. I feel like there is a chance, and I feel like it's more likely now than it ever was before. I feel like there is a chance that whatever this 6th iteration ends up being, it ends up returning to the original continuity. In the past, I always thought there was an outside chance that this might happen, but I feel like it's more likely now than it was a year ago that we return to the original continuity, just because Cartoon Network seems to be baking on some of their older IPs right now. They seem to be going for more so brand recognition than anything else with the shows they've been announcing. Yes, they have been announcing new shows as well, new IPs, but like we're getting Total Drama Island back. Like I said before, Foster's, Powerpuff Girls, Gendy's back. I'm sure, look, there's no confirmation of this, but I'm sure something's going to happen with either Dexter's Laboratory or Symbiotic Titan, maybe even a Samurai Jack special or something. I'm sure he's going to do something with one of his old properties, unless, hey, maybe he doesn't want to, but in the past he has said that he does want to return to Symbiotic Titan to complete that series. So I'd honestly be shocked if we don't get an announcement at some point that, hey, Symbiotic Titan's returning for a season 2, or hey, there's going to be like a Dexter's Laboratory special or something like that. So I feel like Cartoon Network right now, they're trying to lean into some of their older properties to try to get people to migrate back to the channel, because we all know Cartoon Network's probably at the lowest point right now than it's ever been in its history. So what better way to get people to return to the channel than returning to the original continuity? I feel like that would be, an instant hit if they handled it well, right? I feel like people would instantly flock back to Cartoon Network to see, oh, I really liked Ben 10 when I was little. They're now doing a new Ben 10 that's serious again. It's more mature than, the previous iterations of it in the reboot, I'll check that out. I feel like there is a chance that happens. I'm not going to say it's the most likely thing to happen. I still do think, the more likely or most likely scenario is that the 6th iteration is something brand new entirely, but I do think there's a decent chance we return to the original continuity just because of what I said before. Cartoon Network seems to be leaning more so on their older IPs than they were, a year or two ago. But we'll have to wait and see on all this. As to timeline-wise, when is this new iteration going to be announced? Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. Who knows at this point? Because it was supposed to be announced last year in 2021. At this point, I would say it's probably not going to be announced this year unless if they announce it at New York Comic Con. This is being recorded before Comic Con happens, so if it was announced, then yay, this video is not coming out. Otherwise, I would say probably in 2023, I would imagine. I'd be shocked if there's a scenario where we're entering 2024 and there's still no official confirmation that we're getting another Ben 10. Because like I said before, Cartoon Network still hasn't said that they're making a 6th iteration of Ben 10. It was from Duncan Rolu that we learned this. So I feel like at a given point, the network themselves, they have to acknowledge that they're making a show, because obviously, people need to find out about it. Otherwise, if they just come out and say, hey, there's a new Ben 10 premiering this week, and they never announced it, everyone's going to be like, what? There's another Ben 10? You didn't tell us about this. So I do feel like at the latest, the end of next year, which I would be surprised if we go that far. I would say, in my opinion, if I had to pick a time frame and bet money on it, I would say by May of next year, we'll hear about the next iteration of Ben 10 and what it is and when it's coming out and all that jazz. Or maybe not when it's coming out, because Cartoon Network's MO lately has been, let's announce a show, not say when it's coming, and then not talk about it for a year or two, and then we'll just surprise everybody the week of and say, hey, here's the new show. But yeah, I don't think it's coming this year. I don't think it's going to be announced until probably next year, and we'll have to wait and see when it premieres after that. But anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all of this. Are you guys surprised that we haven't heard about the 6th iteration of Ben 10 yet? And do you think it's going to be something brand new entirely, return to the reboot continuity, or even the original continuity? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.